Good day everyone, welcome to another lesson of our ArchiCAD tutorials. Previously we've covered introduction to ArchiCAD. We've also done a tutorial on project settings and units. In our today's lesson, we are going to be looking at drafting and basic tools. If this is your first time coming across my video, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you can get updated with subsequent video tutorials. And make sure you watch till the end, because I'm certain that you are going to learn one or two things that will upgrade your skill. At the end of this video, if you have any concern or any area that you are not clear about, do well to describe your issue in the comment section, and while I'm scrolling over it, I will give you a reply, either through a full-length video or just a text reply. Either ways, I will address your issues however I see fit. And at the end of this video, feel free to like and share to friends and family. So without wasting much of your time, let's dive into what we have for today. Drafting and basic tools. Now, first of all, you need to understand that ArchiCAD is both a 3D and a 2D software. 2D basically means two-dimensional. 3D also means three-dimensional. So a 2D interface deals with X and Y axis. Most of us understand what I'm talking about. X and Y axis are just one plane, while X, Y, Z axis are two planes. So one plane has two dimensions, which is like vertical and horizontal, while the other plane, the additional plane, makes it 3D. And in the 3D, in the second plane, we also have vertical and horizontal, which one of the lines has to collide with the other one on the first plane. I don't know if I'm making a point, but as we go ahead, you will understand. So the tools that are used for drafting in any 2D software are lines, polylines, spline, fills, hatch, pens, text, dimensions, labels, worksheets, drafting, views. So I just gave a general list of all the basic drafting tools. I'm going to show you them in ArchiCAD's interface. So this tab, if you go over to the toolbar, I talked about the toolbar in our first video, introduction to ArchiCAD. So you should go check it out and learn if you want to understand more about the toolbar. So now, if you close this first tab, the second tab is where you can find all the 2D drafting tools. As you can see, there is dimension, there is level dimension, there is text, there is label, there is fill, there is line, there is arc, polyline, drawing, section, elevation, interior elevation, worksheets, details, change, and that's all for the basic drafting tools. There is nothing that you want to do in 2D that you can't do with these tools given here. I think these tools just summarize any 2D software you can possibly think of. If you know examples of 2D softwares, you can go ahead and list them, but the general one that almost everyone knows is AutoCAD. Yes, there is no engineer or practicing engineer, architect that doesn't know AutoCAD. It's more like the pencil and drawing board of the digital space. So this tab in ArchiCAD's toolbox just summarizes all those AutoCAD drafting tools. So let's go ahead and see what they do one after the other. So we cannot start exploring dimensions if we don't have things to dimension on the screen. Right now there is nothing to dimension on the screen, so we are going to draw some lines and we are going to use that to do dimensions, text and the rest of it. So a thought just flashed into my head that I should have done things about walls, slabs and the rest of it before coming to the drafting tools, so that I'll be able to explain better using what we've done through the other tools. But that means I am going to make another tutorials properly explaining the drafting tools after this one. Okay, but notwithstanding, we've already started, so let's complete today's tutorials. Now first of all, let's start with line, because I was supposed to start with dimension. Let's start with line. So once you click on line, notice this area of your ribbon changes. I made mention about this in our first video. I told you what you see on this area of your ribbon is depending on the active command in your toolbox or toolbar. Now, how you know the active command is the one that is outlined with or highlighted with a light blue something, a light blue shade. Yeah, so that's the active tool in your toolbar. If you click on dimension, notice that this place will change. Have you seen? It has changed. The series of command has changed. So that's it. Now go back to line, click on line. Now before you draw anything on your screen, make sure that you have set it properly and you know what you want. Yeah, so when you click on line, there are basic settings here, so you can scroll through the settings by using your middle mouse button. So when you scroll, you see that's the end of the screen, back and forth. So now, but if you want to see more advanced settings for the line, you can click on this. These are all that you can see for the line. These are types of lines, whatever type of line you need, they are all here. Properties, this doesn't have so much to tweak. Yeah, it doesn't have so much to tweak. So these are the basic things about line. This is how you want it to be. If you want it to have arrowhead at start, arrowhead at end, or arrowhead at both sides. So we are going to explore all of them and see how it's going to be. Now if you want the line to cover a zone or to have an area in which it is confined in, you can check that zone boundary and your line will now become like a space separator. I hope that makes sense to you. So that's it. So first of all, we are going to okay, I've not talked about the color. So the color and the line width is at this point. It's also this option you see here. As you can see, this 62, so it's the same thing. Now if you click there, you see a whole variety of colors, and these are not just for aesthetics. Each color has a specific thickness which you can edit and play with if you know what you are doing. We are going to go advancedly into these colors and their thickness and however it is. Now if I hover around the first black one, you notice that it is called line 1 and it is 0.13 millimeter thickness slash 0.37 point text, general drafting. But if I hover to the next one, still black, as you can see, it is named 21 and it is 0.35 millimeter thickness slash 0.99 point text, general cut structural. So as you can see, at the end they give the use of the line. So when you are drawing a structural line, which could mean a section, you can basically use this thickness. But if you are drawing a line for general works, you can use that first one. Then likewise, if you go down, you still see other options. So this 41, 0.25 millimeter, 0.71 pen thickness, cut non-structural. So there are many lines. All lines have their specific points and usage, but you can also customize a line to your own to your own prescription, or to your own how do I put it, taste. Yeah, you can customize a line to your own taste and based on what you want to use the line for. All right, so let me show you how we will do the line customization and so on and so forth. Right now, let's select the first line for general works. We'll customize the line as we go. So first line for general works is black. And the type of line, solid line. I'm not using all this dashed and all these types of line, but as you can see, I could use any of them. In case you are looking for other types of line, remember this point. So solid line, okay, and then I can draw my first point. Now let's draw something. Let's do 4,200. Remember, my units are set to millimeters. My working units are set to millimeters. Okay, 3,600. We talked about working units in our previous video, the one before this one, which was titled project settings and units. So go check it out to understand how to change your working units and your dimension units, so that you can understand how the interface or how the workspace works. So now 3,600 at this other side. All right, so let's go again. 4,200, 3,600. So we have a box made of lines. That's one box. So let's change the line type. We can do that by this, or you go to the settings and change it there. Still the same thing to get. So if I go there, change the line type to this is hidden, any of them. So let me draw the same thing. 3, okay, let me change it this time. 4,200, 3,600, 4,200, and then the end 3,600. So we have 2 boxes. Now these 2 boxes are on their own and they are made of lines, with different type of lines. So you can do the same for all. If you click on this, that's 4,200, 3,600, 4,200, 3,600. Don't think you can use this double line for walls. Whatever you want to do, don't think you can use it for walls. You can use it for a rough sketch, but don't use it for walls, because the distance between the 2 lines are not even specified. You don't know the distance, except you customize a line by yourself and you make sure that the distance between the 2 lines are to your desire, to specification. Other than that, we don't know what the default spaces are, so don't use it for walls. It is even preferred you draw this line and copy it to the specific distance you need before you can decide to want to use it for walls and other detailed elements of design. Now that's basically everything for lines. You could just highlight it and change the color and thickness, or change the type of line. It's as you can see. So it's just everything about lines, and there's no mystery. You could change one line, you could change all the lines. I hope we are following. I'm just playing around. So just to tell you that everything is possible when you know how to use the lines very well. So it's either you are highlighting the lines. How you highlight is you click on your right side of the screen, drag to your left side of the screen. So that's it. Either ways it works. So if you stop half, it highlights only those parts that you cover. So some people say, it's not highlighting. That's because this is where your highlight shadow stopped. You didn't cover it. So if it covers it, it's going to highlight. If it doesn't, if it stops halfway and you feel it's going to highlight, or if it stops here, no, it's going to highlight just the 2 that the shadow covers. So the next time you face that challenge, understand how this works. It's always from your right to your left, either top to bottom or bottom to top, but from your right to your left. Take note. Alright, so with that at the back of our minds, notice how there is no settings on this area of the screen. That's because we have gone out of the line command. Sorry, I mistakenly clicked escape to get out of the line command and I didn't tell you. If you are finding it difficult if your line is active and you want to highlight your object, it will not highlight. It cannot highlight because your line tool is active. Sorry, I noticed that maybe some of you might be facing that challenge right now. So you are trying to highlight, but your line tool is just everywhere. To solve that problem, just hit the escape button or you click on arrow 2. It's the same thing, escape or arrow 2. Escape on your keyboard. Let me escape keyboard. Let me show you on your keyboard. I could do it. Yeah, this is the escape button on your keyboard. So you see that you hit the escape and it will go out of the line command. Have you seen? Yeah, so that's that. Either you hit the escape or you press the arrow 2, and automatically by hitting the escape it has returned to arrow 2. So that's how I was able to highlight. I hope that is clear. Now with this done already, let's go to the next tool. I am just doing it randomly, but in such a way that we are going to understand it very well. Now the next drafting tool is the circle. So circle basically is simple to set. It's the same thing as line, just that you have to let's check what it is. It's basically the same thing because it's 2D. So if you remember what we did for line, so it's the same thing. The only thing about circle is that you specify your center point and the radius. That's what is required here. So center point, radius. If you want a 3-point circle, this is it. If you want a tangential circle, this is it. But the basic one is center and radius. So once you find the center of your point, you can click and draw your circle. I'll go over it again, so relax. So that's remember that our line is still double line. So let's set it back to single line. So in order to go back on what we did, I'll just simply hit the undo button, which is Ctrl+Z. We talked about this in our very first video. So hitting the undo is going to take out that line we drew. So let's draw a circle again. Set our line to solid line. Now our circle is set to center and radius. So remember, it's the first option. Don't always go to the second or third. Start with the first, except you have advanced. Then you can explore this other two, but I'll show you how to do it. So with my circle selected, if I need a center point to any line, I can just simply hover around where I think the center point should be, and ArchiCAD will tell me, oh, here is it. You can click on it. As you can see, there is that. As you can see, ArchiCAD has highlighted the center for me. Likewise, if I go to the edge, you will see that, yeah, ArchiCAD has highlighted the edge for me. So that's something. If I want my center point to start at the edge, I can simply do that. Click there, because they've shown me. They even checked it good, chef. See, have you seen? They say you are okay. Click there, so you can click now. So if you are struggling to locate your center point, just hover around where you think it is, and ArchiCAD will check it for you. So with this, I can click. Now it says specify your radius/distance. Radius is the center of the circle to the edge, any point at the edge. So I could type the radius, but if I want it to be the distance here, I could just click here. But let me type the radius for the sake of this tutorial. So I need the radius to be 1200. Remember, the radius is not the circle. Unlike AutoCAD that will generate the circle as soon as you type the radius. No, this one, it will tell you to still specify the circle. So I've clicked on OK. Now I'll have to specify how far I need the circle to go. You get, I'm just playing around. So if I want it to be a full circle, I can turn it around and come back there. Yeah, click OK. I click on it. So let's do it again. Click on circle with this option selected, hover around the center, click on it, specify my radius 1200, hit enter. Then I draw my circle. Okay, let's do the same thing down here. Click on the center, specify my radius. Notice that if anyway my line is, and I specify the radius distance, that's where the circle is going to start. So if I make this line to be along this point, the circle is going to start there. So I can decide to draw a half circle. But if my circle starts here and I want to draw the real boundary of the circle, is going to begin there, and it's going to be something like a quarter or something like that, or end somewhere here. Don't know if you understand. So in order to save yourself stress dragging the other edge to come back to base, you should just make sure that your line is along the baseline. So that's it, 1500 millimeters, hit enter. So as you can see, my line is starting from base there. Remember, before it was starting from somewhere like that or like this, because that's where I specified my distance. Alright, so now I can choose to keep my line, my circle like this, which is half circle. I could choose to complete it, which is full circle. I could choose to take it the other way around, half circle, choose to complete it, full circle. So let's do a half circle for now. So I've done a full circle, I've done a half circle, just playing around. There's no specific thing that I'm drawing. We are supposed to draw something, but I think we'll do that in our next tutorial, or in subsequent tutorial that is dedicated to 2D and drafting. Now that's for line and that's for circle. The rest of the commands, this and this, let's explore this. If you click on this one, that means it's a 3-point circle. You should be having 3 points to click in order to generate your circle. So let's assume this is our first point, this is our second point, and this is our third point. Have you seen? Now they still say specify the circle axis or the circle boundary. So specify, as you can see. Do you understand? I hope you understand, because if you don't understand, please write what you don't understand in the comment section, or watch the video again. I'm sure by the second time you are going to get it properly. So let's go to the third one. The third one is tangential form of drawing a circle. So if I click on that, that means I have to select my tangent. So this is one of my tangents, this is another of my tangents, and this is my third tangent. So I've had a circle. I hope you understand. Let me change these lines to lines that you understand. So I want to select right to left. If I've selected one and I want to select another one to add, I can hold shift, select these two. So I've selected all, change the line to a solid line. So that's it. That's how to draw a tangential circle. Let me also change this line to what we can see. For the circle, notice that the only reason why this place will clear is because I click escape. Please, whatever you are doing, remember that if you want to leave a particular command quickly, you have to just hit escape and the command will be deactivated and to go back to your select or arrow tool, which is the basic standard. Alright, so that's it for the circle. You can go back to the initial one, which is circle and radius. Then there are other options here. This is ellipse, which is 2 points. An ellipse has 2 radius. So the first way to draw an ellipse is to specify the 2 edges. So click on that and say that's the first edge, that's the second edge. You've drawn one. The second way is center and edge. So where is center? Let's use this as our center and edge. Do you see? Edge. That's it. Now the last one is more like an arc, but with, I don't really know the use of this one, but I think engineers will do. So it's kind of like drawing a circle, but then you specify your first radius and then your second radius. Yeah, let's say that's 900. And then remember that ArchiCAD will always ask you for the boundaries of whatever you are drawing. So that is it. Let's go back, let's set it back to the defaults. The defaults were this and the defaults were this. So that's it. That's all we have for circles. Polyline is the same as line, although Polyline groups all the lines into one element or one object. So if I should be drawing the same line, the same boxes, rectangles, because these are not perfect squares. If I should be drawing the same rectangles in Polyline, they will be seen or regarded as one element. Let's take an example. Let's use different dimensions this time. 2400 by 4200, 2400, 4200. So now this is done with Polyline. I want to come out of the Polyline command, so I'll click on escape. Remember, or the arrow tool. So now that I've clicked on escape, I can now select the Polyline. Have you noticed that once I click on it, all the box is selected, but in the line, when I click on it, just one line is selected. So that is the difference between line and Polyline. You could draw a complex 2D object with lines, and each line will be individual. But when you succeed to achieve that with Polyline, all your objects will be regarded as one element, which is a good thing in some drafting cases. So you don't have to keep selecting one after the other to move or copy. So that is it. I think okay, that's it. You can play around with the thickness, the line type, the line color. If you want it to be arrowhead. Let me even talk about those arrowheads now. Say for example, I select this line, I could change the start and the end to arrowhead. As you can see, I selected end to the arrowhead. So if I select this, it switches to the other side. Also, if I select this one, both sides has arrowhead. So I think that could help in some cases. If you want to dimension manually, or if you want to do an elaboration about something and you don't want to use the dimension tool or leader tool, you could just use this one. and it will save. Maybe you write a text on top, it will save very well. Now that's it. You could do that for any other lines, circles, and so on and so forth. Can we do that? Yeah, we can do that for circles as well. As you can see, okay, this doesn't have, okay, let's check, let's see. You can do that for this half circle. Alright, as you can see, you can make it one, you can make it the other way. So alright, that's it. And notice that when the arrow is on, you can set the thickness, the line color, the arrowhead size, and so on and so forth. So explore that and let me know your experiences in the comment section. At the end of this video, I think I should be dropping an assignment so I can track everyone's progress. Okay, we are going to look for something we will do before the end of this video, and then in our next video we'll see what you've achieved so far. All right, that's it. Okay, the fill tool. The fill tool works like the line tool, polyline tool, circle, just that the fill tool has fills inside any shape you draw. It could be a regular shape, irregular shape, it doesn't matter, but inside of the shape is filled. I don't know if you understand me. Now, before we go to the fill tool, okay, while we are looking at the fill tool, I will use that zone and boundary of the line tool to make comparison. The fill tool, if you select, if you start drawing with your fill tool, notice that my command bar has changed, my ribbon has changed because the fill tool is selected in my toolbox, so I can draw to any dimension. So let's type in dimension 6100 by 300. So we have a fill tool there. Notice I finish. Let me do it again. So click on the fill tool, click on any start point, specify your vertical and horizontal dimension. So 5500 by 3900. Enter. So I have an object there. It's more like a rectangle, but have you seen that it is grayed out? That's because of the type of fill that is there. I can't select it right now because I'm still in the fill command, so I have to click on enter or press arrow key. So now that I've pressed arrow key, I can now select it and do my settings. It's either I set it before I start drawing, or I draw it before I set it. So after drawing it, make sure you go back to your arrow tool, then select it. You can now set it. Now for the settings, that's the deeper setting, but the primary things you need to know are on your screen here. So this is when you want to draw irregular shapes, this is when you want to draw regular shapes, this is when you want to draw regular shapes but at inclined angle. Now these are the type of fills that are available, categories of fills that are available. So if you click on the arrow there, you see categories. This is plain fills, this is block fills, these are all block fills anyway. So these are the type of fills in the category of fields. So if notice the number of fields we have here, if I change the category to the first one, notice that the number of fields changes. You get? I hope you understand. So category of field, okay, it's even there self field category, field patterns. So each field category has unique patterns inside it. So I think the first one is the general field category. So you can see almost all the field patterns. But if you move to the next field category, you will see a selection of them. You can't scroll because that's where it ends. If you move to the next one, you can also see a few selection as well. So that's it. This is for section, this is for surfaces, this is general, this is general, this for surfaces, this for section, this is, I don't know what this is for. Okay, this is for models, I think. So that's it. Now with the first general category checked, the field that's there is dashed. So dashed, as you can see, at an angle, that's what it gives you. You can change the field color to, let's say, blue. You can change the field boundary color. Here you can find it. So let's say red. So it's red. You can't see the thickness because the thickness is not on. So for you to see the thickness in ArchiCAD, you right click on your screen and turn on true line width. That's it. It's off now. By default it's always off. So if you right click on any part of your screen, and turn it on, if it is blue, it is turned on. So now that it is blue, it's turned on. Have you seen? So if you go to the end, now you cannot see it because it's not zoomed. So if you zoom, that's when you can see it. You can see all those that have red, that the line weight are red, so they are with the thickness. That's because I think this one is using the same thing. Let's use blue for this one. So you have blue there, red. Let me change it all to blue. Hold shift, select this as well. So blue. So I need this to be stay black. Alright, so that's it. More on the field command. Let's do one more. Irregular shapes in field. So irregular shapes, let's just do 24,000 200 900 500. Alright, so this all mix. Alright, so that's it. Now let me show you a trick. I think I should be showing more tricks. We've learned about undo, which is Ctrl plus Z. So now let's learn another trick. If I want to set this, let's copy it into another place of the screen first. To copy this to another place of the screen, you just right click and press, not this copy, move, drag a copy, which is Ctrl Shift D. So if I click on drag a copy, I can select base point and then move it to another place. So it creates a copy of it. Or Ctrl Shift D, click. So we have 3 copies. One the manual way, the other one the shortcut way. Now the trick I wanted to show you, we've learned undo, we've learned copy. Now I want to show you the trick transferring properties from one material to the other. First of all, I can choose to set this exactly like this. Let's first of all set the boundary to red, then set the fill. The fill category was the first one, and what we were having was dashed. Where is dashed? Dashed. Now this is black, sorry, the inside is black or be gray, but this is blue. So let's set the inside to be blue. Oh sorry, that blue is too blue, so I don't know the kind of blue that is there. Let's check what kind of blue is there. Okay, this is the kind of blue that is there, so select it with that. So we have the same. On the other hand, I can simply take these parameters and inject it onto this one. That was one of the first things we talked about in our first video, Introduction to ArchiCAD. You can find those commands here. Pick up parameters, inject parameters. So if I click on pick up parameters, I can take this parameter, move to what I want to transform to it, and inject the parameter on it. So if I click on it or I press alternate C, same thing. See, notice how my pointer has become a sucker. So I'll just click on the edge of this view, and that's all for that. It has picked the parameters. Anywhere I want to inject that parameter in, I can kindly go and press the inject parameter, which is Control Alternate C. So notice that the parameter cannot work for another object that is not in its family. So a parameter for a line cannot work on a polyline, and a parameter for a line can work on a polyline, but a parameter for lines cannot work on fill too. So let's get things clear. Now I'll click on inject parameters. The parameter that was picked up was for fill tool, so I'll go to any new fill tool, hover around the edge and inject it. Simple. So I don't have to keep setting and setting and setting and setting. Do you understand? So that's the easy way to set some things. Maybe if you drew a particular type of hatch throughout a document and you for some reason change different shapes, so you can just pick up the parameter from the first one you've edited and inject to the rest. Easy peasy, you are good to go. So I think we've covered a lot for today. We are going to do more on these basic drafting tools in our next video, because this is becoming too lengthy. I want everyone to go and digest this. Now for our assignment, you're going to draw 20 different shapes using the line, polyline, circle and fill tool. So line, polyline, circle and fill tool, those are 4 tools. So we're gonna draw 20 shapes each. Should it be each? Let's see. Okay, let's do 5 shapes each, making it 20. So you are going to draw 5 shapes using the fill tool, 5 shapes using the line, 5 shapes using the circle, 5 shapes using the polyline. So we have 20 shapes. In our next class, continuing on these basic tools for drafting, we are going to look into dimensioning, text, labels, pen settings and the rest of it. Alright, that's enough for today. I hope you learned a lot If you still don't understand any area, watch this video again first of all. Then if you still cannot get, make sure you organize your questions properly and type it in the comment section. While scrolling through your comments, I will look at it and find a perfect way to explain it better to you. Alright, so that's all. If you've not liked the video till now, hit that like button. If you've not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, because I'll be dropping more cool videos, more tutorials on ArchiCAD and other software subsequently. Alright, see you in the next one. Bye.